why answer the phone ever again when you can auto missed call text people as a reply and tag AI into that to be personable, friendly, responsive.
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow, and today we're going to focus on our subject today is going to be, is AI a secret weapon you've been missing in your outdoor living sales strategy? Is that what it is? Are you actually missing the AI part? Because there's a lot of stuff AI can do, and it's not what you think it is. So today I have Frank back on. Hey, Frank, what's going on?
Hey, good to be back.
And we have Adam Golan on as well, and he's an AI specialist. So Adam, welcome on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited for this conversation. I know that I have mixed feelings on AI. You know, I think of AI kind of being this robotic thing that doesn't really answer things right. And you're like, if I'm spending six figures, the client's thinking I'm going to spend, six figures on a project. I want to talk to a human. So today I would love to unpack that a bit with you guys. And also the main focus is going to be how automating routine sales tasks will improve your efficiency by using AI, and how AI and automation tools can handle repetitive tasks such as data entry, scheduling, follow-ups, and reporting, freeing up the salesperson's time to focus on relationship building and closing deals. And also, how do we make AI feel more personal and not like a damn robot? So I figured you guys are the two best to talk about with this. Adam, while we jump in here, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into AI and what your specialty is?
Yeah, so my background is not technology. I'm not a coder or tech specialist. I actually started as a contractor myself. My family are home builders, deck builders, landscapers, all that kind of stuff. And so I grew up on job sites, learned the industry that way, eventually ended up managing 50% of Canada's revenue for Trex, the outdoor living composite deck company. Did that for about 7 years. And over that span of time, learned a lot about efficiency, being one of three Canadian team members for a giant American conglomerate, and being very spread out and having a lot of ground to cover on my own. So efficiency became the name of the game for myself. And I quickly learned that there were things that I could outsource in my day-to-day. Now, automation AI weren't available to do that, 7-8 years ago when I started that process. But, when the big lockdown happened and I was finally off the road and I had time to be at home and learn where technology was going for our industry and for sales and business strategies and marketing and things like that, it was a huge eye-opener for me that I personally was doing a whole bunch of stuff every day that I could have just been automating and had AI doing for me. More of that kind of blocking and tackling, repetitive, tedious task management stuff, especially back-end admin work and things like this where, when a lead comes in, what happens? And if this happens, what happens next? We really build things in the automation world through if-else conditions is how I've really realized it. Frank could speak to this a little bit as we've worked longer together. It's really adjusted the way that I think through a business and through a customer journey through a business. And it's very much like every micro step, every micro action. If you as the owner of the business who's doing all of these things know what your processes are or what the ideal conditions are, you can pretty much set it and forget it, where a bot can basically replace you in a lot of the ways where you're kind of getting bogged down by those admin tasks yourself. So that was my light bulb moment with this technology. I saw I'm Canadian and always grew up playing hockey and listening to Wayne Gretzky quotes, don't go where the puck is, go where it's going. So kind of anticipating where the market was going to head to, and saw that this was just inevitable. I know that there's fears around AI. I have them myself. Me personally, I never had social media, not one to put myself out online very much. But there's certain things that we just need to accept as business owners, that it is what it is. And the big eye-opening thing for me when I was kind of stuck at home with everybody else doing some research and digging into stuff was MIT came out with a study kind of post-lockdown on how that instance, changed shopping behaviors, and especially online shopping behaviors. And we saw the impact statistically. I've always been a data and numbers guy in managing my business. And they found out that 80% of leads you will never hear from again if you wait 5 minutes to respond to them. And that just blew my mind as a stat. I didn't really think that that was possible. They also proved in that same study that 78% of clients will buy from just whoever responds first. So speed is so key. And the difference between a 5-minute response and a 1-minute response is a 391% in your potential conversion. So potentially a 4x swing in potential conversion on a customer just by being quicker. And so speed wins, efficiency wins. These are the things that you can stack as a business owner with these new tools to really take advantage of what I like to say is the highest form of leverage that's ever existed on planet Earth for business owners. And that's AI and automation tools. There's really no other tool that we've ever seen that lets you scale the human interactions that just are such a necessity and core part of building a foundational relationship with clients, moving them through their customer journey and through your sales pipeline. And the biggest advantage is we're kind of able to do it better when we can set it and forget it because life gets in the way, right? You're busy on the tools, you miss a call. We know that 62% of all calls into all small and medium businesses, not just in our industry, are missed. I like to point out that includes dental offices and law offices that have teams of people sitting around answering the phones. And if we know that the speed of reply is the biggest driver of actually winning that business and building that relationship, then why answer the phone ever again when you can auto miscall text people as a reply and tag AI into that to be personable, friendly, responsive. And to answer kind of your third point there at the start, that's kind of the easiest part is making AI feel human. If you know what you're doing. And so this is the new world of prompt engineering. And that's what we've really gone to school. My wife is my partner in the business. She's done the prompt engineering thing for the last 2 years now, and she's an absolute wizard with getting the bot to understand who it is and what its functions are and the roles and the goals. And we can give it personality traits. Do you want it to crack jokes? Do you want it to use people's names? Do you want to stay professional? Do you want to be serious, casual? Everything in between. And that is really the fun stuff. That's where you can get lost for hours as people who play with these tools all day, every day, in being like, hey, I wonder if I could turn this into a little coach in my pocket, or I wonder if I could have this be my concierge for a hotel. And, just the list goes on and on and on. And that's something Frank and I are working with as well, so making a little AI Frank so he's a little bit more accessible to people on a day-to-day basis. But we've gotten to the point
AI Frank.
Where, I love the idea. That's how I have the bot in my phone that we're testing with it. So it's just AI Frank.
Nice.
And it does a great job. It sounds just like him. No offense, Frank, but it's great. And that all goes from Frank's knowledge, though, right? As coaches or consultants and things like that in the industry, and even as business owners, you're a consultant to your customer as well, helping them transform their space. So to be able to take what you know and transfer that, I think there's a shift in the overall market, not just in our industry, kind of more in line with information products and courses and communities and things like that. And those are great. But I feel that AI and automation is the leverage piece that we now have to kind of bridge the gap between that personal human experience and the delivery of the information and expertise that people have locked away in their minds. And so now that we have that as like a base foundational kind of principle that we know exists in the world and we can do this, it really comes down to how can we apply it best in the business. And my opinion isn't just like, yeah, it's great to auto text people when they get a missed call. That's basic stuff, but it really is the humanizing of it. And the clients we work with, they always report that people are fooled, have no idea it's AI, and always compliment how nice the staff person was that they dealt with on the way into the call. So we love hearing things like that. And you never know what someone's going to text you when AI is connected. And so doing this for as long as we have, the last few years now, We've seen it all. There's people who've like been locked out of their homes and texted the wrong number to the bot, and the bot helped them find a local locksmith that could come and get them back into their house. And the person was super
It's crazy.
The person was super happy and so thankful and wanted to send over a Starbucks gift card. And then it finally revealed, oh, I can't drink coffee, I'm AI. And they went, wait, what? And so we love hearing stories like that. But the humanizing has really become the easy part for people that have logged the hours and put in the reps to know what are the trigger points and what things make it feel robotic, what things make it feel human. And again, it really comes down to working with as many business owners as Frank and I both have to know what those processes are and to know how to get them from doing things how they are now to doing things in a more empowering way for them. So the biggest way that AI helps with efficiency is just eliminating hundreds of hours of tedious task, repetitive admin work that's usually done on the back end to just do the blocking and tackling of moving people through a sales pipeline that can just be automated. And like I said earlier, that was my light bulb moment. It's like, why am I doing these things myself? Why am I spending my valuable time, which is all of our most valuable resource, on things that I could just hit a button once and never have to do ever again for as long as I live? And that's where, I like to go back to that statement of it is the highest form of leverage that we've ever seen. And I think it is just a matter of time that everybody's doing it. Similar to maybe the resistance in the early 2000s of jumping online and getting a website made and things like that. Eventually, everyone got a website made. Now we're seeing the same thing where people are kind of abandoning traditional websites, going more to sales funnels because a little bit more automated, a little bit better conversion. Well, can you have an AI-powered automated sales funnel where the back end of that funnel leads people through a pipeline without you having to do any of that, any of that actual work yourself? So it can replace a role.
Out of so many questions.
Shoot. Yeah, I'll stop.
Wow.
There's a lot, but you can replace roles. You can replace yourself. Good help's hard to find. So I say clone yourself instead.
Yeah. I mean, it's so many good things there. I'm like, my mind's reeling with all these questions that I have, but Frank, it looked like you had a question. You wanted to say something.
No, I think, Adam talks about all these things, and the way I met Adam was actually a client of mine who reached out, and because I was on them to hire an administrative assistant to take care of these back end details and like entering information into the CRM, making sure they have their notes updated, making sure that they are doing the follow-ups, or to just let the client know that they're working on things, or making sure that they know exactly in the morning where they're at into the lead to sales process. And are we processing that sale? Have we moved it on to the next step? Do we have a delay? Is there any red flags? And so they weren't doing the work. And all of a sudden, 2-3 months later, I'm like, hey, I'm following up. It's very important that we talk about this. They're like, hey, no problem. We've automated all this part, and we've eliminated, not that they've fired anyone, got rid of anyone, but they said we've been able to not only replace that position that we had before, we don't need it anymore. Now we feel like we have 3 people working with us because we have this, and this. They had the marketing plugged into it, so the leads were going into one place, the communications were going into one place, prompts, making sure all of it was in one place. And so I said, I have to talk to Adam. I think it's probably you could have multiple episodes on this. But if you want to tackle just, how can we use it for sales so that it doesn't feel like you're talking to a robot, it's in the back end. There's a lot of stuff. And I think the most important part I want to provide as part of this episode is just every business is going to use it differently. Some people are going to use it more in the back end. Some people will automate more of the stuff that comes from online, and all that digital part of it can be automated. But some people, there's nothing wrong in wanting to be that person who talks to the client, but automate the back end. So, you can look at this in different ways, and different companies have different setups.
I love your passion. I love your excitement for this. I can see, my wheels are spinning in my head about all the applications for this to take care of, to your point, all the back end stuff, the stuff that drives you nuts that you don't have time for. You finish your call with a client. Like, what do I do with all this stuff? Where does it go? Who sets up the meeting? Like, if all that stuff can be managed through something that doesn't feel like some clumsy robot, then wow. Okay. where do I sign up? Like, how can we figure this out? Like, because think about it. If you have great team members that have great skills, do you really want them constantly doing the bean counting and the moving of document A to bin A? Like, forget that crap. Like, what if they could be focused more toward the client and the experience and having that face-to-face more time with them, because they're not stuck doing the stuff in the back room that they don't really want to be doing, making the copies, moving the content, right? So I can see tremendous value in this, and I'm excited for what AI is bringing to the world. And I know for some listeners, they're like, that stuff is not good. It's the devil. Like it's going to take over. It's eventually going to, it's going to be smarter than us. It's going to be all those things. And I agree. It is kind of scary what it can do. Just working with ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of these, it's like, holy moly, this is crazy. Like I don't even go to a search engine anymore. I actually go to ChatGPT or to Perplexity, and it scours the web and it gives me a better list of information than me having to go to look for a website on Google and then try to figure out if that's the best website. It does all that for me. So you think about it, it's exactly to efficiencies, but just that small use of it now translating it into an actual sales funnel, a client experience, implementing, making that much more efficient is super exciting, because now we can serve clients at an even higher level with less stress from our staff trying to make sure they get all the papers in the right boxes. So that's the exciting part of that. But my bigger question is, I know there's some listeners out there thinking like, man, how are we going to sell 6-figure projects with an AI robot? Like, yeah, maybe if you're selling like lawn cutting, or you're selling maybe an irrigation clean out, or maybe a $5,000 project, you might get away with it. But so I want you guys to talk to me and convince me on how this AI system is going to help us sell 6-figure projects without it feeling like Mrs. Jones is getting handed off to a robot.
Yeah, I think the secret there is expectations, right? And we don't live in a world where everyone has a Tesla bot that's going to show up to the house to take measurements and be able to give a quote and make a sale. That is the human element where, us as business owners in the industry, you still want to present yourself. And you're not removing yourself from all elements of the process. You're removing yourself from the unnecessary elements. And I'm glad, Joshua, you brought up the point as well about, this isn't a tool meant to fire people, put people out of jobs. That was a fear that I had initially too. And I saw just like, oh man, there's whole positions that exist on this planet that won't exist anymore. My own cousin was telling me he was going to go to school for business administration. I went, no, you're not. Don't do that. Yeah. You will not get a job. I'm putting that position out of work. Do higher ROI activities. And I think that's what it really comes down to, is now you can build a team of people who are still great, who you still love, you still want to keep around, but those people can be more customer focused, driving marketing, driving back end fulfillment. Maybe you can add people to more foreman roles and help remove yourself from having to manage crews because they have this extra time given to them. You're really just moving the time blocks around, but you can't do that and have that flexibility until you free up the time in the first place. And so I know the catch-22 here is there's so many tools, but especially in our industry, I like to tell people, like, we know better than most that just owning a tool doesn't mean that you know how to build something great with it. And there can be a lot of overwhelm. And if you need the tool to save the time, how do you get the time to learn the tool? And so it really comes down to not focusing on tools and focusing more on systems and understanding processes through, guidance from people like Frank, who have seen it a million times before, have that bird's eye view, understand what a proper customer journey through a sales pipeline looks like, from searching for the business and optimizing that so that you're more visible, to engaging with a new lead in quick enough ways to not suffer those conversion losses, all the way through to where it should end for maximum value extraction of each client that you have in the business, which shouldn't end at collecting money, but should end at, asking for feedback, making sure that they had a good experience, then getting that feedback posted as a Google review to help build your brand in an automated way, grow that presence online, completely automated. And then not even stopping there, but going as far as to say, hey, if you left us a great review, we should understand that you're probably likely to say good things about us if we ask you for a referral. And so referral business and word of mouth is huge. Being able to do those things at scale that we already know work and just automating those tasks really do result in an overall growth of the business that's scalable to a point where we just haven't seen before.
Josh, Adam is giving you the big picture. If I can take 2 minutes and just mention how I use it or how my clients use it in their business, just generally, because it's such a big engine that it's really a Ferrari, but I'm going to give you just the basic Toyota version for today of how I use it, because I know I'm not maximizing it yet. I'm just starting. But like in the morning when I wake up, I go to my dashboard. I see how many leads came in. I see who I need to contact. And some of them have already been scheduled, let's say through AI. And then when it goes into the system, it books the meeting into my schedule, and it puts the name in the CRM and all their information. And that's something that's just been communicating through them finding me online. And then, but the AI basically books the appointment, gives different times, different options, and basically tells the person will be in contact with you in the next 24 hours, or this specific person will be in contact with you in the next 24 hours. And then it tracks all the marketing, where the leads are coming from. If people are leaving me messages on, let's say, social media, because there's different ads and stuff, it can respond to the ads. It can let them know if the services are offered, what services are offered, how we book appointments. All this information is in there. So it sounds kind of simplistic, but one day you'll have to have Adam just do a demonstration of it for people to be able to visualize. But we were talking about dashboards. That's what it's providing for me. It's like the information comes in, it puts it in the system for me. So it does half of that work. And now I just have to go through it, do part of my work, and then it keeps moving it for me as I need it on the back end, from emails to texting to reminders. But it's much larger than that, from booking my calendar to redirecting people to the right person. So all this stuff.
And to properly answer your question, because I don't think I actually did, in terms of humanizing and getting it to help close, it's about streamlining the process, right? We're talking about efficiency. That's what these tools are here for. It's about reducing the amount of friction from a lead coming into the ecosphere of your business, if you want to call it that, to getting them to a human as quickly and efficiently and easily as possible. We live in an age of short attention spans, and that's my personal theory as to why the speed to lead stuff is just so important now. You just need to be quick in getting back to people, or their kid's going to call them. They're going to, the phone's going to ring. Something else is going to happen. They're going to leave your website. They're going to go somewhere else. Whereas if you've engaged, you've started a conversation, it feels human, it's personal, it's conversational, it cares. And that's kind of the secret sauce too, is how do you program AI to make it feel like it cares about you when it's talking, and not that cold robotic feeling. And, that took a long time to crack, for sure, but getting there is magical. But it's really getting you to a point where you're in the door, you're at the kitchen table, and you're having a chance to sell in as quick, easy, frictionless as a process as possible. And then from there, having, like Frank said, an AI receptionist behind the scenes that's making sure they remind you when you have appointments. It's following up with clients with 24-hour and 1-hour reminders, so they know you're coming and they're ready and they're home and they've showed up, and you didn't deploy resources of gas and time driving all over the place. So then you get there and you have to call them and say, well, hey, we were supposed to meet at this time. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. I'm just out at the whatever. I'm sure we've all experienced things like that and heard those stories a million times over. So it really is just this needs to happen. This needs to happen. This needs to happen. This needs to happen. How can we have it happen 24 hours a day without any sick days? And then how can I have help where someone's reminding me of my appointments and tasks and follow-ups, and hey, we met, but they don't want to work with us until September, let's say it's June. They don't want to work with us until September. I'm not going to remember that conversation, but the AI can remember the conversation from my quick little notes and remind me on September 1st, hey, you met with Jane Smith back in June. You discussed these things. She wanted you to call her today. Here's your reminder. Press this button and the phone will ring and you can be talking to her again. So you're following up on your word. And that's just providing better customer service than we are now without the robots. So I would argue that using these things to free up our time is the big leverage point that allows for that time to be spent on driving relationships and building those long-standing customer relationships that lead to more reviews and more referrals at the back end. And that's the stuff that grows the business on autopilot.
Yeah, I love it. Adam, this has been very eye-opening. It's been really amazing to see what you can do with AI. It's not just another, search engine, if you will, but it's more focused on actually automating tasks and to alleviate some of the pressure, stress, and overwhelm that our teams are feeling by automating certain tasks that no one's really seeing anyway, right? And I'm sure you can make it as client focused or forward as you want to, or I'll just keep it in the background. That's really up to you. So if I'm a listener out there, Adam, and I'm like, all right, this sounds good. I'd love to take this kind of technology and start helping with my company and growing and all that kind of stuff. What are some first steps that we should even consider on this journey? Or how do we know if we're a good candidate for this?
Yeah, I mean, Frank and I have worked together on creating some calculators to help reveal how much of this stuff would actually be useful to you. So I'm happy to share some links to those. And we've also created a free guide that basically says, like, here's your top 10 things to kind of start with, actionable steps, and where to implement AI into your sales, your marketing, and your customer service processes. But as a base level, high level view of it, it's the speed to lead is one of the most important. And then organization, and you bring up efficiency, and that's what this is all about. Being organized creates a smoother working process, which makes you more efficient. So having your own AI organizer that's keeping things clean, moving people through your CRM and things like that, really it's the key that unlocks the rest of it. And that's where I would say to start is just understand your processes, try to figure out what things you do on a repetitive basis, week in, week out, answering calls, replying to social media, DMs and comments, bulk scheduling posts across places, doing email marketing and things like that are customer facing, as well as the back end stuff. Automating reviews is such an easy, low bar lever to pull that just will grow any business. Getting more reviews on Google helps every business grow. Everybody needs that. Everybody knows that by now. I'm not, breaking any news here, but 93% of customers before buying something check a review. 58% of customers are willing to spend more money or travel greater distances to work with companies that are considered the best. And if we think of this from the business owner standpoint, you want to deal with the best clients and your ideal dream clients who are we all know that the cheaper, lower ticket clients are the ones that generally cause the most headaches. And the people that trust you and have the money to spend are easier to deal with. Well, the best clients want the best businesses. And how do they know who's the best? They check reviews. And so if you can automate that process to, take your previous list and do what we like to call the 5-star flood and get a nice big bump of everybody that's been happy working with you, and then just stay diligent. Every time someone pays, they should be asked for a review. And just having that process be automated, that's the best time to ask. That's the highest conversion for getting reviews. And if that's something you never need to think about again, you're building your brand online while you sleep. And there's nothing more powerful than that. So I would say starting with reviews and initial communication, maybe some of your marketing efforts, that's the best place to start.
So my next question would be, how painful is it for you guys? If I were to say, Adam, come fix my company and do all this, how painful is it for that to happen? How much of my time is involved? What does that look like? Are you going to need me for like 2 weeks? We got to go to some secret layer and do all this stuff, and you got to take all the information out of my brain, or how do you become me? Anyway, so what does it look like to even start a process like this?
Yeah, this was the hardest part, obviously, was streamlining that. And it used to be a lot longer of a process, but thankfully through a lot of time and iteration and experience with customers, we've got it down to about 90 minutes. So 3 half-hour calls. We used to do it all in one 90-minute call, and we felt that some people, it was just too much to remember after the fact. So we do all the setup for people with this stuff. Again, like I said, you're not the master of the tools, we are. So let us build it, just like you want people to let you be the master of your tools. So yeah, within 30 days, you have a completely transformed business, 30 minutes a week for a couple of weeks. And that's it.
Sweet. And how can people find you? If they're listening, they're like, I need this in my life. How do they find you?
Yeah, I think the best place to start is the calculator that Frank and I came up with. So they can go to growth.adaminai, as in I clone myself in AI. So adaminai.com. And there's a free calculator they can do there. After they do the calculator, they'll get sent that free first 10 steps guide. and they'll be able to watch a little demo video showing each one of these steps, like a live demo, fully automated business, so they can check it out and see if it's for them.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Adam, for that. And Frank, so obviously you're working with Adam here, helping the industry with the AI side of things. Tell me a little bit about what your hopes and goals are for that.
So for me, I want to introduce at least some parts of it to everyone I do business with. So when someone contacts me, if they have a question about AI, I would take them through the same resources that Adam just mentioned, but I would ask them an important question about, what parts of your business are the most painful on the admin side. And let's start with the one that really takes a lot of your time that we can automate without you feeling a discomfort about it. Once you understand the process, and we take it usually one thing at a time. So Adam is a great person for setting it up. Like you said, 3 half-an-hour calls and your business has changed. Where I come in is I explain the benefits, the pros and the cons, and try to customize the options for the businesses. So when I understand your needs and what you need, then I can tell you which part of AI is going to be very beneficial for you to start with. And sometimes when you're able to understand that part, then once you meet with Adam, you're all set. You're like, Adam, I'm going to use it for this, this, and this. I would like to focus on these 3 things, and let's get it started there. And then Adam just makes it easy for them to understand it, but also to take them through the process and use it. So yeah, this is where we're going with this. And it's not meant to be used the same way for every business, but that's the beauty of it, because there's different parts of it and it understands how to help you. So
yeah, every business is unique. Every business owner is unique. Every customer demographic and local region is unique. And that's where kind of out of the box DIY tools don't cover those bases, and people end up in an endless cycle of, I bought the wrong tool, I need another one. I bought the wrong tool, I need another one. And that's where, Frank comes in to go, slow down. Let's figure out, why do you need the tool? What is the outcome you need or the result you need from using the tool? And maybe you don't need all the things that you think you do. Let's lessen your tech burden. Don't have 6 different softwares when one can do the trick if you set it up correctly.
I love it. And does the AI integration, does it integrate with, if I have a CRM already kind of in place, does it integrate with most CRMs, or there a specific CRM I have to go with?
It can. So there are CRM functions in terms of moving the person through the pipeline. But the beauty of automation and all of the softwares and tools in this space that are come out is they all link with Zapier. And so they all can talk to each other through that really easily. We have a few customers that use things like LMN or Synced Up or some other Jobber, JobTread, things like that for like estimating and quoting, which isn't something that we do in terms of like the invoicing and sending the quote, generating the quotes. The AI obviously can be programmed with price pages to do initial estimates before people get on a call as like a pre-qualification step to protect the business owner's time even more and make sure they're only talking to the right fit clients. But yeah, very easy to have things talk to each other in this day and age.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Any other thoughts you guys have on AI that you want to drop before we wrap up here?
If anyone have any questions and they just want to see, how they can use it for their business, I'm more than happy to jump on a 15-minute call to really look at their needs, to make some suggestions, look at some options. If it's a good fit or the right timing, then they can take it to the next level and meet with Adam and go through the phases. So
love it. Thank you for that, Frank. Adam?
Yeah, I would just say your time's valuable. Elon Musk isn't building the Teslas, and Jeff Bezos doesn't deliver my Amazon packages. You don't need to answer every call. You don't need to send every email. You don't need to ask for every review. There's a different way of doing things now, and it's really exciting.
I really appreciate you guys coming on, and we focused on how to automate routine sales tasks to improve your efficiency. And it sounds like what you guys are on to is going to do that in spades. Also, how AI and automation tools can help with repetitive tasks like data entry, scheduling, follow-ups, reporting, and even freeing up that sales professional's time to focus more on the client, that forward-facing side, which is where the deals are actually closed. And also, you guys have went deep into how this doesn't sound like some kind of robot. And that's the last thing we want. When you make that phone call to the credit card company because you have a question and you get that lady that barely speaks English and you're like, this is so annoying. Every time you say something, she gets it wrong. Like, that's what I feel like AI in the past has been, at least mentally, maybe not physically. And I'm glad that you guys are breaking that barrier, because I can see a lot of value in what you're doing. It's just a matter now of making it feel like And I love the idea that you can actually make it sound and feel more like each and every person, not just like a person, but like you, which is kind of crazy. But at the same time, I can see that, making everyone's lives. Imagine everyday listeners getting up and you've got your dashboard, you know how many leads you got to go after, when they're scheduled. And if they got to reschedule, it automatically does it for you. And all this kind of stuff is like having a personal assistant right there that can speak and act and even be more like you, so that you don't have to be stressed with, because it's the details, guys, right? It's constantly trying to keep all the plates in the air running a business, and then try to remember what you told Mrs. Jones, when you're going to be there. Oh crap, that didn't work. Now I got to pick up a kid, and it's soccer practice was canceled. Then you're like, what am I going to do with all this? Where if you had something that could help through all of that, how much simpler or less stressed and overwhelmed you'd feel. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on here. The listeners, if you want to reach out, you have Frank's information. You also have some from Adam. And guys, this either embrace it or it's going to run you over. That's all I got to say. You're going to be in the
competitors in your
mirror.
area are using it, so you can't keep up, unfortunately.
Yep. You got to run your business from the windshield, not the rearview mirror. So get on the track or get out. So appreciate you guys listening. Frank, it's been great the last 4 weeks. And Adam, it's been a pleasure. Everyone out there, see you next week.